Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Today is the 85th anniversary of the First Republic and the 74th anniversary of the Second Republic of East Turkestan, a land under China's illegal occupation and ruthless crackdown. I'm making this audio to commemorate the East Turkestan Day and to show you the genocide that is happening there and why independence is the only solution to the status quo. East Turkestan, a country that lies north of Tibet, has never been part of China. It is basically a stolen land. The Uyghurs, a Turkish-speaking Muslim majority Eurasian people, are the largest ethnic group that lived there. In 1912, a Chinese supremacist rebellion ended the empire of Manchus, and East Turkestan, a then colony of the Manchu Empire, fell into the newly independent China's hands. There were two East Turkestan republics in the next 4 decades, but both lived short. In 1950, China's new communist regime invaded East Turkestan, purged their elites, and decimated many Uyghurs and Kazakh villages. Now under Xinjiang Party chief Chen Quanguo, this occupied land is witnessing an ethnic cleansing campaign powered by modern technologies that Hitler could only have dreamed of. So basically, China is ruling East Turkestan in two ways: jinwashing and brainwashing. Since 1950, state-organized militias and civilians have flooded into this occupied land to create a Chinese majority. In the name of ethnic solidarity, Uyghur women are sometimes forced to produce biracial children by taking Chinese men as state-assigned husbands. China is working hard to eliminate the Uyghurs' cultural and religious identities by restricting the use of the language on campus, making their children wear Chinese dress, and helping their farmers raise pigs. Communist slogans and sheep portraits are hung over schools and homes and mosques, and Uyghur villagers are forced to attend the police-monitored meetings where they repent disloyalty to the party and report each other's crimes. China is a totalitarian state with atheism as part of its official ideology. It firmly believes that religion is opium for the people and is hostile to all religions. It has been demolishing Buddhist academies, burning church crosses, and closing mosques. China is removing halal labels from restaurants and punishing people for fasting, praying, and not smoking. This anti-halal campaign started in East Turkestan but has spread to China proper, targeting to the country's Muslim ways. China has enjoyed a murder spree of theologists. One of the most famous victims was Imam Yusuf Chen-Keni. Now, China is focusing on eradicating the intelligentsia. It has arrested the Sarta manager of an impressive Islamic bookstore in Beijing and forced the students in Yunnan to leave seminaries. The Uyghurs and other Muslims are suffering ordeals behind barbed wires. According to a UN estimate, China has held over 1 million Uyghurs and other Muslim minorities such as Kazakhs and Huis under physical abuse in re-education camps, where they are forced to thank China, praise communism, denounce religion, and eat pork. China described those camps as free vocational training centers, but close-ups and escapee testimonies show the prison like concrete buildings, and they have barbed wires and watchtowers. Detailing offenses include praying, using WhatsApp, lacking homage to Chinese flags, and even studying abroad. Gurkini Tashmimit would be 31 if she were still alive. She has remained missing since returning from Malaysia in 2012. This master's student is widely believed to have ended up in the camp. Even for those who live outside those camps, nightmares never end. China is using Orwellian policing, forcibly installed spywares, and tight passport control to turn the occupied territory into an open-air prison where most of the non-Chinese locals can hardly flee. Uyghur women witness their husbands and sons taken away from them Those men are arbitrarily detained, tortured, and killed. China calls those men terrorists with fake proof or no proof, and intimidates their families, censors online discussion, and even deports Western journalists who report otherwise. Adil Razi was a 21-year-old model student at a Urumqi normal school. China executed him for an alleged riot he was no part of, despite strong counter-evidence. After an unfair mass trial in 2009, China still bans his father from speaking to the world. Ilham Tohti is a former professor of economics, winner of the Martin Ennals Award for Human Rights Defenders, and candidate for the Nobel Peace Prize for 2019. He has been serving a life sentence since 2014 on separatism-related charges. As an outspoken critic of China's unfair treatment of Uyghurs and human rights abuses, Mr. Ilham Tohti said he was looking forward to good dialogue for the purpose of turning China into a normal democracy that protects the rights, traditions, and cultures of all ethnic groups. He had been repeatedly tortured and threatened by Chinese police. Before his arrest, he pleaded emotionally with Uyghurs not to hit the Chinese people, even if he were to die in the government's hands. According to an incomplete list, more than 231 Uyghur scholars have been kidnapped, tortured, or killed, including Rahili Dawood, 52 years old, anthropologist who was disappeared. Hal Murat Upur, 58, a medical scientist who was sentenced to suspended death. Muhammad Salih Hajim, 82 years old, the first translator of the Quran into the Uyghur language, who died after spending 42 days in a concentration camp. At the same time, students have been forced to return or kidnapped to sent to camps, including Mutalib Imin, 31 years old now, a master's student in sociology. He was arrested in 2014 when he came back from his Turkish school and remains unheard of. And Yoham and Yasinjiang, both 28 years old, they were forced to come back from Egypt, went to camps, and have been confirmed dead. Those deaths are linked with beating, sleep deprivation, denial of medical care, and forcible drugging. China also uses these methods to torture its own dissidents, including Nobel laureate Liu Xiaobo, who died of suspicious cancer in 2017. Even for Uyghurs and other Muslims living beyond borders, terror still lurks. In 2017, Chinese agents, with the help of Egyptian police, kidnapped more than 200 Uyghur and Hui students in Cairo. This mission was to interrogate those students under loyalty towards the Chinese Communist Party. And for those who study in the West, including the US, China forces them to return and send them to camp by simply threatening the parents. In 2015, China made Thailand return over 100 Uyghur refugees. It also used to harness the Interpol as a weapon to hunt Uyghur leader Daokun Isa, a German citizen, in Korea, Italy, and other democratic countries. To curb criticism on American soil by Uyghur Americans, China detained the family members of some Uyghur American reporters. And not long ago, China tried to control a Uyghur American researcher by using his daughter's future, but he refused to become a Chinese spy and chose instead to tell the world what was going on. For those who believe China is only targeting a specific group of people and remains far away from us, I would like to provide some fresh evidence about China on our campus, the UGA campus. We have a Chinese Students and Scholars Association, also called the CSSA. It claims to be apolitical, but also acknowledges on WeChat that it is registered in the Chinese embassy. Records show it has organized several patriotic events to defend the Chinese Communist Party's honor from Taiwanese and Falun Gong and other smears. So basically, our freedom of speech on campus is being restricted by the CSSA, a student organization being loyal to a foreign government. Not long ago, a Chinese agent reached me and offered me to become a communist spy. He says this would be one of the conditions that I could return to China safely. But I definitely couldn't become a Chinese spy and work against my own country. So I chose not to join its espionage program, but to report suspicious student activities to law enforcement agencies. In 2013, China's top military academy, NUDT, acknowledged on the newspaper that it had sent more than 600 students and scholars to secretly study in the West. When they return, they would bring back most advanced technologies. And also, those students and scholars had established more than 9 Communist Party branches in Western universities, including American universities. At the end of this video, I would like to share with you guys about China's history of genocide. It is a very long-time tradition, and more than Uyghurs have been the target. In the so-called Xinhai Revolution, which I mentioned as the Chinese supremacist rebellion in 1912, the Chinese rebels butchered 15,000 Manchus in Xi'an city and more in other cities. But even today, the spiritual leader Sun Yat-sen is still hailed as a great man, a great revolutionary leader by China's communists, as well as self-alleged liberals. So the whole Chinese society loves Sun Yat-sen, the genocide leader. In 1975, China stormed Hui villages and mosques in Chinatown and elsewhere with bullets and shells, killing a total of 1,000 Huis, including 300 children. In addition, China's annexation of Tibet in the 1950s was also accompanied by a series of massacres of civilians, including an air raid on the 3,000 Tibetan civilians in the Lita Monastery in 1956, and the bombing of the Dalai Lama's Potala Palace in 1959. So, with all these horrible things happening, what else can we say? Can we respond to China's brutality? There's only one word: independence. East Turkestan needs to regain its independence to repair historical injustices, to stop the ongoing genocide, to end the bloody occupation, and to break away once and for all with an evil empire. Uyghurs, Kazakhs, Huis, and other Muslims and non-Muslims in that occupied land have their unalienable rights to live safely with no more fear, and to pursue their independence and freedom. Last year, several students and I burned the Chinese flag on the Chinese National Day, which we renamed as the Chinese Flag Burning Day. At the end of that audio, I wrote a few words, which I would like to use to conclude my video today. It won't be long before we the people raise our own flags of liberty and justice over the land of the free and the home of the brave.